First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. For real. So what's poppin', y'all? It's your boy Flex Luthor. So No Role Modelz is a single off of the classic album 2014 Forest Hills Drive. And yes, I said classic. And if you don't think so, you either haven't heard it yet or you're just a hater. But on the song, J. Cole basically describes his philosophy on dealing with various kinds of women, from the LA sisters all the way to the LA hoes. He goes on to explain what he is and isn't looking for in a woman. However, over 6 years later, I feel certain bars in this song need to be revisited to see how well they've aged, and if they still apply to our collective thinking. Yeah, y'all know where I'm going with this. So in this video, I'm going to be examining the irony surrounding some of the lyrics to No Role Modelz and what, if anything, can be learned from this. So before we jump into this, do me a solid and go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. So in the third verse of the song, J. Cole claims, "I want a real love, dark-skinned Aunt Viv love, that Jada and that Will love." Now this song came out in 2014. There was no way J. Cole could have possibly known what would have happened in 2020. But like Morpheus said,
fate, it seems, is not without a sense of irony.
So in case you're somehow unfamiliar with the situation, last year in an interview, August Alsina said that not only was he sexually active with Jada Pinkett Smith, but that during that time he had Will Smith's blessing. Now, to our knowledge, Jada and Will never separated, so this kind of came as a shock. Not to mention the fact that because of Jada's Red Table Talk series, she had developed a reputation of being a very emotionally aware self-help guru. Now that went perfectly with her already established reputation of being total wifey material due to her and Will having been together for almost like 2 decades. But it wasn't until we actually heard her explain the entanglement on her show that many of us began to have the same thought. So that's that Jada and that Will love? Ugh. Now, I'm not bringing this up to relitigate the situation or to give my opinion on it. So the facts of who did what don't matter to me. So I'm not interested in questions like, well, was Jada really cheating with Will with her entanglement, or weren't they in fact separated at the time? And didn't Will have his own thing on the side? I mean, those facts are not only irrelevant to my point, there's no way for me to know anything for sure, so I'd be purely speculating. But you know what's not speculation though? The fact that Will Smith, Mike Lowrey, Agent J, Hancock, Dr. Robert Neville was on screen looking like this. Now that's facts. For as long as I can remember, Will and Jada's relationship has been a paragon of black love in the eyes of the culture. And I watched the reputation of that get Thanos snapped and disintegrated in a matter of hours. Overnight, Jada went from being every guy's vision of what wifey is like to being what every guy wishes to avoid in marriage. Which brings us back to the question, do you still want that Jada and that Will love? I think here is a good place to point out. The beginning of the second verse starts with Cole saying, "No role models and I'm here right now. No role models to speak of. Searching through my memory, I couldn't find one." Now I'm fairly sure he means no role models that he knows personally. I just find it ironic that on a song called No Role Modelz, he mentions multiple people who he not only looks up to, but wishes to emulate, albeit fictional characters and celebrities. But here's the thing, looking up to fictional characters is great. Their actions and personality are usually set in stone. They are the work of writers who have to follow certain story beats to make sure the story flows properly and makes sense. Celebrities, on the other hand, not so much. So after the rest in peace Uncle Phil line, where J. Cole says, "You're the only father that I ever knew. I get my pregnant, I'ma be a better you." That's real. He's speaking for a generation of boys who grew up in a single mom household. Uncle Phil can't disappoint you because Uncle Phil is not real. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, on the other hand, can totally let you down. Now I know many of y'all's first reaction to hearing this is to say something like, "Well, I never looked up to them anyway." Yeah, you did, man. It's okay to admit it, bro. And it makes perfect sense to look up to them. I mean, in the history of Hollywood, has there ever been a black actor as big time box office as Will Smith? I mean, how many A-list black actors are there to even begin with? How many black married couples are in the movie industry? So you take the biggest Hollywood star and pair him with an incredibly beautiful black Hollywood actress who is a star in her own right, and on the outside, on paper, you got a match made in heaven. And to make it even more appealing, these two have been together for decades, which has to be like an eternity in Hollywood, where couples get married and divorced in the same year far too often. So the question remains, do you still want that Jada and that Will love? Or are we ready to accept that there are no role models in this game?